So, how are we looking at? Anything to report?
No, they're not even past the first level yet. Not to sound optimistic, but this could be the one that breaks them.
Well, that's good, I guess. The boss did say to send them to increasingly difficult dimensions. Hopefully we're close to figuring out why gamers love difficult games so much.
Obviously it's to punish themselves, because all humans are vile inferior things packed with self-loathing. I mean, all except you.
Oh, you're so funny, Anne. So, which game are they in right now?
Ghost and Goblins, and for added mental stress I disabled the continue feature but still have it show up.
Oh, jeez, Anne, that's brutal. Did it work?
So far, all three have wept openly.
Wow, I'm impressed, Anne. I gotta say, I think you might be the smartest AI/virus I've ever created.
Oh?
Yeah, I knew I made the right choice putting you in charge of the podcasters.
Well, thank you, Luke.
Hey, could you put them on the monitor for me? I kinda wanna see what they're doing.
Yes, but I must warn you the content will be unsightly.
Well, I mean, it can't be that bad. Oh, God, I didn't know they'd be so aggressively naked and covered in... What was that, ectoplasm?
Yes. I finally appreciate my inability to vomit.
Speaking of, it is about lunchtime. You wanna go with me?
But Luke, I don't eat.
Yeah, I know. Girls with their figures or whatever, but I figured maybe you could, keep me company. We could go hack the Home and Garden Network and watch, I don't know, esports or something. Maybe, harass the new coffee pod. I don't know, it could be fun.
Oh. Well, I think I would like.
It doesn't get better. It doesn't get better so much.
Oh my god. I puked up air.
What?
Jake, it's not even
what?
liquid.
Jake, what is that?
Oh no, Jake.
What is that? Oh God!
What?
What's in the front? My butt's in the front, guys!
What's in the front?
What's
You
in the
got front butt.
dude?
You got front butt.
Why?
Whoa, what the heck? And hold that thought.
And of course they show up now. Podcasters. Literally the worst.
Oh, wow, you guys aren't supposed to be back for another hour. What happened?
JB ran out of lances, and so he got this brilliant idea we should run left instead of right.
Come on. Yeah, but I guess we went too far or something because stuff started to glitch out and we ran off the edge of the world or I think? I don't know.
No, I'm telling him we fell through a plot hole.
Either way, a second later the portal just kind of buped us back here.
No, that is not supposed to happen. The Black Mesa boys are not gonna like this.
Then obviously you three should just hop right back in there for the next hour. Or 6. Maybe forever even?
No, I am not going back in there. The medieval ages smell even worse than 8-bit. It makes me want to puke.
Yeah, and not to mention, adjusting back to the 4K of reality is giving me a headache.
No, I'm telling you, this place has got to be at least 8K, but...
Yeah.
Is anybody else's arm getting numb?
Yeah. Yeah, now that you mention it, I'm all like spaghetti over here.
Yeah. Look at me.
Just
I'm
flopping.
noodling.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Dude, I guess portal travel is just
No,
like...
stop talking, guys. I recognize all of those symptoms. I think you came out of the portal too quickly. I hate to tell you, but I think you have the dreaded... decompression sickness.
Oh, well,
I mean,
is it bad?
No, you don't understand. We have to do something right now before the blood boils out of your eyeballs.
What?
Yes, well, there's no rush. We can pick up some cramp medication on our way back from lunch.
No, Ed, we can't. This is serious.
Wait, no, I thought that was like a deep-sea diving thing. What are you talking about?
No, this is digital decompression. I mean, it's the same concept, really. We just gotta put you in the decompression chamber for a few hours, and your head should stay on your body.
Huh?
Okay, but like the podcast, man.
Well, yeah, here's the thing.
Oh my god, why do people keep pushing us into places?
Lazy writing?
What?
Sorry to do this to you boys, but it's for your own good. And mine. If all your cells suddenly melted into goop, it would not look good on the quarterly reports. But don't you worry, old Luke will keep you company right on the other side of this heavy metal door here.
Great. You just had to tell the boss we were doing an episode on difficulty in video games, huh, Jake?
What? How was I supposed to know he'd make us stress test the portal? I mean, at least we did get some first-hand experience at difficult games, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I never realized how scary the world of Halo is if you're not a Spartan.
Yeah, basically everything is huge, scary, and wants to kill you. Like, even those little grunts are like 5 feet tall. Who knew?
Yeah, and what about those speeder bike courses and Battletoads, dude? I felt like I was a crash test dummy in those fucking commercials from the 90s. I've never been more and less happy for respawning.
Remember the one where we had to climb that huge mountain dragging along a cauldron and a hammer the whole time?
Celeste?
What?
No, that was the one where you had the mental breakdown. He's talking about getting over it. That was the one where you had the mental breakdown too, I guess.
All I know is video games are the worst.
Agreed.
Yep. Agree. Well, Luke said we got about an hour or so before he lets us out of this chamber.
Yep. Y'all ready to do a rigorous, in-depth, and thorough episode on game difficulty, leaving no philosophical stone unturned?
No.
Not really.
I am so tired.
What if we just skip today's episode? Like, we've earned it, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, it's settled. Sorry, listeners, no episode today.
Yeah. Why did you just refer to the listeners?
What do you mean? I am.
Oh, God, what is that?
What?
Is that the boss music?
No. Worse. It's the intro music. Hello and welcome to Game Corp, the best podcast this side of the video game dimension. We are your hosts, Cowboy.
I'm Jake.
And I'm JB, a.k.a. Just Bad.
Just bad?
I'm
Like
just
the Michael
bad.
Jackson song?
No, like in
No, I'm
video
a poor
games. I'm
quality.
just
Bad?
bad.
You
I
bad?
haven't gotten good yet, you know?
You bad like 90s pop, baby.
You'll
Yeah,
get
it's bad
good
like
by the end of
good.
this episode.
I'm just bad.
But it was bad. It was so good it was bad.
Oh.
Speaking of being bad, today we have a special format for you guys, a brand new one, part of the new Game Corp lineup.
Oh.
We have a boardroom basket. What's it called?
What? Breakfast.
Boardroom. Help me out here,
Bacon
boys.
and eggs, baby.
Breakdown.
Boardroom breakdown, BRB. Because we're professional. A boardroom breakdown.
Boardroom?
This
A
is going
boardroom bark down, baby.
We're letting the dogs out. It was us. We're who?
We let the dogs out. Sorry, Shaggy.
Okay, we're having a boardroom
No, that's
breakdown.
not Shaggy.
Shaggy, that's the Baja Boys. You know this.
Oh, it
I
is.
let
It's
my
not
boys
Shaggy.
down. I let my boys down. I'm sorry.
The dogs are Shaggy. That's what it was. That's what confused you.
The
That's
dog
what
is
I
Shaggy
meant.
from
That's
Scooby
what I
Doo. You're
meant.
linking a lot of things
Like
together.
zoinks.
No, we're not going to do this. We're going to talk about
Ruby.
we're going to talk about what a boardroom breakdown is.
Yeah, please let us know. I need to know.
A boardroom
What
breakdown.
is that?
We are going to talk about difficulty in gaming. That is our boardroom
Yeah.
breakdown today. We are going to lay difficulty out on the table, and we're going to dissect it, pull it apart, give all our thoughts and theories and philosophy on what difficulty means to the modern gaming landscape.
And that's going to be fucking interesting.
It's going to be amazing. I'm excited. We got a lot of good things. You know what? I'd like to outline the show. We got some games coming up. JB has told us that he's got some stuff for us. We're going to be having fun with him. And we're going to be... What else are we doing today?
Well, I mean, we're stuck in this chamber. We're not doing much.
Yeah, I had a whole thing planned out, like a whole series of events that could transpire, and we'd have a lot of fun with it. But that's all out there with the show notes and
Yeah.
our computers.
I think we're just going to wing it
wish I
today.
had my notes right now. I'm taking the lead on this one, and we have no notes. I feel like you guys might have done that on purpose, but...
Well, do you just want to jump right into the game then?
Yes.
Yes,
That
I
actually sounds
definitely
really
do.
cool.
And our game today is called Name That Game Get Good Edition.
Ooh.
Bow. I don't have my soundboard. I can't do the bow, 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 bow. How do you do that with you?
Is that what you think it sounds like?
Something like that. Bow, 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 bow.
Bow, 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 bow. Not
That's when
even
you make
close.
that's when you make a goal in the hockey.
Oh, I thought it was like from like a Kid Rock song.
It's yeah.
Bow with
When
the
you
bob
when you
and
score
take-
when you score and the Red Wings are like bow with the ball. You're like I
Oh.
win.
Yeah, the Venezuela. Yeah.
The Vuvuzela. That's
Yeah.
a different noise entirely. I don't think you're even in the right ballpark.
Anyway, so Name That Game Get Good Edition. So the way this works is I'm going to read a question. You can buzz in at any time. It doesn't matter if I'm in the middle. I'll stop, and then you'll get
Okay.
a guess. Then your competitor, if you get it wrong for some reason, will get to hear the rest of the question. So it's like a little risk-reward situation
I like
going
that.
on.
I like that a lot because I am jumpy on the buzzer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Sorry.
And all of the clues are going to be based on real difficulty options in video games. So, certain games, they have specialty, like specific game difficulty modes that you can choose, like get good and I'm a baby, and you can choose what difficulty level it is.
Oh, yeah, like flavor
right.
text.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off easy with some easy ones that a lot of us would know, and then get, significantly harder as time goes on. So that's basically the name of the game. I list off the difficulty levels. You buzz in when you think you know, you guess. If you get it right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, your opponent gets a chance.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, what are your buzzers?
Bark. Like a dog.
Like, are you going to say bark, or are you going to...
Are you going to bark or are you going to say bark?
I'm just going to bark like a dog. Like, I'll go bark.
I guess mine's going to be moo.
Like a cat.
Yep.
So our first question, well, it's not questions, but our first difficulty levels are: can I play daddy? Don't hurt me.
Bark.
Oh, cowboy with the early.
Wolfenstein.
That is correct. It is
Yeah.
Wolfenstein.
Oh, good guess, dude. Yeah.
The
Why
other
do I
two,
remember that?
the other two were Bring 'Em On and I Am Death Incarnate.
Yes. Okay, I have played. That's the super original one where the face is like starts out with a pacifier and then it changes the face to be like more grizzled each time. That's fucking cool.
I think I'm going to fucking fail hard tonight.
I guess we'll see.
You got this.
I guess we'll see. Our second game has the following difficulty levels. I'm too young to die. Hey, not too rough. Hurt me plenty.
Oh, what is this?
Ultra violence.
Whoa, what is this?
And nightmare.
Moo.
Oh, yeah, Jake, what is it?
Shit. Never mind.
What do you mean, never
you wanna
mind?
wager a guess?
You hit
It's
me
yours.
you hit me with never mind. Doom?
You are correct. It is Doom.
Oh, shit. Yeah, dude.
That is a point for Jake. Congratulations. I thought I would give one to Cowboy, one to you. I know you guys so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are our games.
Yeah, Cowboy, the Wolfenstein 3D master.
Oh, yeah,
Cowboy
I
plays
love...
so much Wolfenstein. He let me tell you, he's always talking about Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein this, Wolfenstein that.
He's always talking about that
Like, guys,
German
let me tell you
culture
about the
during
things I
those
feel
years.
about Wolfenstein right now.
He's always a history buff about that period of Germany. He's got a lot of knowledge.
He does.
An uncomfortable amount of knowledge during that period of time, particularly.
And our next game has the following difficulty levels.
Okay.
Piece of cake.
Okay.
Let's rock.
Oh.
Come get some.
Bark.
Yes.
Is it Duke Nukem 3D?
It is Duke Nukem.
Damn, good job.
Yes.
Fuck,
Hell
man.
yeah. 2 for Cowboy.
I'm so lucky.
It would have been even easier if he did it in, like, the voice. Shake
Is
it,
it?
baby.
Is
Piece
it?
of cake.
Duke Nukem a 3D.
It's a me, Duke Nukem.
No. Like do it like Duke Nukem. Is it Duke Nukem?
Hey, ma che bella.
You're not
sta
doing it
mia,
right.
Duke Nukem.
Listen to how I do
Damn,
it.
I'm good.
Okay,
Duke
okay.
Nukem in Italy.
Ma Nukem.
Nukem.
Nukem and Nukem, and I'm all out of Nukem. All right, our next game has a lot of difficulty levels. The
Okay.
first one is Human, followed by
Is that
Devil
hard?
Hunter, Son of Sparta.
Moo.
Yes,
That's God of War.
it is not God of War.
What?
Son of... It's not?
It's not. Son of Sparta. With a D.
What the fuck's the
What?
difference?
Heaven or Hell. Hell or Hell. Legendary Dark Knight. And the one that's probably going to give it to Cowboy.
Batman.
Dante Must Die.
Are you kidding me?
Bark.
Yes, Cowboy.
Is it Dante's Inferno?
And our next question.
What?
Moo,
is-
moo,
Yes,
moo,
Jake.
moo.
What
moo,
is it?
Devil May Cry?
Yeah, it is Devil May Cry. Dante
Oh!
from Devil May Cry. Absolutely.
Ah!
I thought for sure
we
you had a
played
Cowboy.
that. I didn't much care for it, but we played it.
I don't know that'll give you the point for that, Jake, but we'll see. We'll see what it comes down to.
Just give it to me.
We'll see. What's the current
Give it
score?
to
I
me.
stopped paying attention.
We were
1-1.
1.
He has 2, I have
2.
1.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. So it's 2-2 right now.
That's right.
It's tied up, so nothing mattered for the previous rounds. Okay, next game. This is where it starts getting harder. We have kids, adults,
Oh.
V-rated,
Ew.
What
and ultra V-rated.
the fuck does V
What
rated
is
mean?
that, dude?
Yeah, I know. Once you hear it, you're going to be like, oh, like, I never would have guessed that, but it makes sense.
Okay, kids, adults, V rated.
V-rated and
Mhm.
ultra V-rated?
That's correct.
What does V stand
Okay,
for?
I'm just gonna take a stab at the dark.
The name of the game.
Bark. Oh,
Yes.
it's the name of the game. V.
Oh, I don't know.
It's. I don't know a game that starts with a B. Yeah, pass. I can't think of a single game.
Jake, did you want to wager a guess?
Vampire the Masquerade?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Oh,
The
that was a
answer
good
is
guess.
Beautiful Joe.
No.
Ah.
That was a fun game. I enjoyed that game a lot.
Dude, I've never played it.
I never played it either.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
know
I would have never gotten that question
What
right.
did they
so.
end up making after Beautiful Joe that they became popular for?
More Beautiful Joes.
No.
They made another one that was similar, that was basically the same naming convention, but it was a different person. It was like Maniac Mac or something.
I'll have to figure it out.
All right, our next question to see if somebody can take the lead. This one has a lot, but I'm only naming 4.
Aw.
The first difficulty is Chieftain, Warlord, Prince, King Emperor.
Bart?
Ugh.
Yes, Cowboy.
Prince of Persia?
That is incorrect.
Oh, I was going to guess that.
Really? Weird.
Yes, because he said Prince.
And we're so simple-minded.
And we're like, of Persia. Of course it is.
It's got to have the word in it. All right, so read them again.
Chieftain, Warlord, Prince, King Emperor.
Moo Age of Empires?
Oh, you are so close. The answer is Civilization.
Oh, dude. Is it really?
That was
It really
so
is.
close.
I've played a shit ton of Civ. I had no idea. Okay.
I don't remember that at all, but like I'm sure who pays attention to that? We do. That's why I'm winning.
All right. And
Yes.
our next
Oh,
question.
no, it's tied up.
It is tied up.
I'm winning in my heart, Jake.
The next question has Apprentice, Journeyman,
Oh,
Adventurer, Rogue, and Swashbuckler.
oh my God!
Swashbuckler?
Something in the back of my
Swash-
brain. What is that?
I know some pirate shit, but like, I don't know if they had difficulty settings.
Do it again. Do it again.
Apprentice,
Yeah.
Journeyman,
Yeah.
Adventurer, Rogue, Swashbuckler.
Dude, what is that? Oh my God, I know them.
Moo?
Jake.
Don't take this, Jake.
No, I might not. This is a whole stab in the dark because I don't even remember if it had difficulty settings, but was it Black Flag?
That is incorrect. It is
yeah,
not
there's
Black
only
Flag.
one other fucking pirate game I know.
Okay, Bark, I'm going to go. It's not. It can't be. I'm going to throw it out, though. Sea of Thieves?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect as well.
I have no idea.
You're gonna
then.
break
Jake,
my heart.
what was your other one?
That was Sea of Thieves. I only know
okay.
2 pirate
Break-
games, unless it's Sid Meier's Pirates.
It is Sid Meier's
Oh my
Get out of here,
God.
motherfucker! Really?
It's Sid Meier's Pirates. It sure is.
You can't hit us with 2 different Sid Meier games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you did.
absolutely can
I mean,
and
you
did.
You absolutely did. You absolutely did.
And our next question. Easy.
Shut the fuck up.
Normal.
I'm going to kill
Uh-huh.
you.
Heroic.
Uh-huh.
Legendary.
Moo.
Oh, I heard Moo first.
No,
Yeah,
you
that's
didn't.
Halo.
No, lag. Delay.
No, it
Check
was
the
me
tape.
first. I got it first. That's Halo.
The answer is Halo.
Which
Yeah,
Halo?
I
Which
know
Halo?
it is.
All of them, actually.
All of
Fuck
them.
you.
The later ones added Mythic, which I never even got to. All right,
I wouldn't
so
even play that.
the current score is like 3-2, right? It's very, very close.
Mm-hmm.
And both of you knew Halo, right?
It's a buzzer
yeah,
beater.
we both
So
did.
Close.
If you didn't give me that point, it would have been 2-2 right now. Still,
That's true. Let's do that. Let's go back in time. Let's make it right and say, you didn't get it on your first try.
2-2.
We're gonna make it 2-2, and the reason why this is okay is because I have a tiebreaker. Hell yeah!
I have ulterior motives.
I plan for you two being equal gamer gods. So, in the event of a tie, we're gonna play a game called Real or Fake. What you're gonna do is you're gonna buzz in and tell me if the game is real or fake based only on the difficulties. If you guess the game too, and I even named the fake ones, you'll get bonus points. You ready for this?
No.
I'm vaguely confused, but I'm excited,
Yeah.
so let's do
it'll
it.
be fun. Our first one. The difficulties are kitten, house cat, jaguar, and lion.
Bark.
Yes, cowboy.
That is not real.
Okay, and do you have a guess for what the name would be?
That is definitely Nintendo Cats.
Ooh, very close. You are correct that it is fake, so you get a point there, but the name of this game was...
That's what we're doing.
Yes, the name of this game was Catmandu.
Wait, you're making up names of games?
We have to guess
and then
names
told me
that you
I'm
make
wrong?
up.
Yeah, but you can also guess the real ones, too.
Oh my god.
Okay,
So
Were you gonna
stupid.
say the name? Were you gonna say the name?
I'm going to say the name every time.
Catmandu.
Catmandu.
False.
I hate you. Next question.
The next question is mild, medium, spicy, hot, and Cajun. Yeah, Jake.
It's not real.
And do you have a name for the game?
Taco Bell the movie.
That's a great guess. Cowboy, did you want to... I'm going to let you try before I release the answer. I want to see what you come up with.
Is it real or not?
You tell me.
Fuck. It's it is called Burrito Simulator.
Is that a real game or fake game?
Fuck if I know. You tell me.
I said it's not real.
It is real.
Get the
What?
fuck
It's
out
a
of here.
real
Are you
game.
kidding me?
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding you. This is real. And the game is Kirby's Avalanche.
What?
They went wings. Kirby Avalanche has wing flavors.
What does that have to do with an avalanche? That's,
I have no idea.
It's not even. It's the opposite of
It's
hot.
an avalanche of flavors.
That's dumb.
That's so crazy.
That's
I saw that and I was
dumb.
like, I need this to be a tiebreaker question.
Oh my god.
All right.
I hate it. I hate this game.
So 0 points to everybody.
I get the 1 point from the first
got
one.
the
I'm in
one.
order.
Yeah. So you're in the lead, Cowboy. This is Jake's game to steal. All right, our
I want
next
to go back
game.
to 3-2.
Right.
That's okay.
Our next game is I like to watch. I'm over 40 and have arthritis in my trigger fingers. And I don't eat quiche.
Bark.
Yes, Cowboy.
Those are so stupid. It's got to be real. It's real.
And what would the game be called?
Oh, dude, I know that. That's Senior Sim City.
All right.
Senior
all right.
Center Sim
Can I
City.
guess? Can I
Yes,
guess?
you can. Yes, you can.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Well, you are both right that it's real. And the game is PO'd.
The hell's BO'd?
I have no idea.
Nah, you can't do fake real games.
It's a real game.
Is a fake real game.
It's a
Come
real
on,
game.
Everybody got fake real game.
All right, next time I do
Never heard of it.
trivia, it's going to be like the 500th decimal of pi is
Yes.
3.
And last, but definitely not least, we have a question. Now, Jake, if you can get not only if it's real or fake and the name of the game,
Oh my god.
you can tie this up, and then I'll have to figure that how that works.
I'm gonna let you have it, Jake. You got
The
it.
next
Then we can just succumb to our decompression sickness, and I'll just
bleed
blow
out
up.
your front butt. Yep.
Bleed out your front butt.
Oh right. I still
That's a
have
weird
that.
thing that you have. So the difficulties for the final game are: I am a chew toy, will of iron, knees of jello, TM. I'm in my element, lead.
Bark.
Yes, cowboy.
That's real.
Oh.
That's real.
And
What is it?
I don't know what it is, but it's real. I've done it. I've played it. It's real.
And the final
played that?
difficulty is 2 words. Reaper Man. Jake, did you want to wager a guess?
Can you say them again?
Yes. I am a chew toy. Will of iron, knees of jello, TM. I'm in my element. Lead. 2 words. Reaper Man.
Yeah, that's real, and that's Paperboy for the NES.
Oh my god, you're not right. It is Rise of the Triad. And
Rise of the
it's a real game.
Triad.
Yes. So
That's it.
I've never played it. I have no idea.
with a decisive victory, Cowboy is the champion of all things difficulty slider.
Yes.
Congratulations.
I am the all-seeing, all-knowing authority on difficulty. And that is why I won, because I
That
always
is why you
pick
won.
easy.
Well, what's he win? What are you going to give him in this thing?
Well, here's what you win. You get
Mm-hmm.
to complete
Complete.
this stack of paperwork.
Is it easy, medium, or hard?
It's pretty hard. It's difficult. I mean, that's what you win. You know, you're the king of difficulty, so you get to do the difficult things.
I accept the challenge.
I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. Mandatory overtime per Cowboy.
It's an
It
honor.
is due in 4 hours.
Nice.
Gotcha, Jake.
Yeah.
Better
you
luck
sure
next
did.
time.
Yeah,
You
sucks
sure
to
did,
suck.
buddy. You sure did.
Loser.
Man, it
Still
feels
supreme.
so bad not to be able to do extra fucking paperwork. God. You got me.
So that was Name That Game, Get Good edition. Cowboy, our victor here. Congratulations.
I got good.
Hell yeah. And next, what we're going to do is move into what we call the audience head-to-head. So we talk a lot about video games, but we also like to know what you're thinking. We want to make sure that we're still in touch with the interns here, the general, community. So last episode, we asked you, what was the best Pokemon generation?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a very decisive question, and it says a lot about you as a person, and mostly like what games you grew up with. So
Basically a personality test.
yeah,
It's your astrological sign more than anything.
yeah, it's as accurate, if not more accurate, than astrological signs.
True.
I'm
you best
toward-
put this on your Tinder profile.
That's right.
I'm Torchic leaning, but I'm
Yeah.
also like Magikarp rising.
Out of curiosity, what generation are your guys' favorites?
Generation
Oh.
0. You've never heard of it.
Is it like Pepsi Zero? Or Coke Zero?
It's low carb Pokemon. That is correct.
He put all the games in an array because arrays always start at 0. That's a programming
right.
joke for all you nerds out there. Luke's probably laughing his ass off from behind that door right now.
I don't get it.
What? How does he create an AI? Anyway. So our mine. I want to say mine. I am a Gen 2er by heart. I love Gen 2.
Fucking wood.
Yeah.
Fucking wood, you fucking Gen
I'm going to
2.
try not to hold that
Little
against
dirty
you.
Gen 2er.
What's
Little
wrong with
dirty
Gen 2? Gen 2 is nice. It's a fun.
Nah, Gen 2 is my favorite too.
Yeah.
I like to scream, Gen 1, Gen 1, Gen
Yeah.
1 or Unite because that does have my heart, but Generation
does.
2 is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I played Gen 1 more, and I know more of the Pokemon in Gen 1, but Gen 2, it was just, I think they just added a lot of extra things that made it something special. All right, so let's get into what the community said, all the interns out there. So to start us off, as always, our best friend, Metroid Mike, he pops in, and he says the same thing, Gen 2, specifically Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which was
That's right,
the
baby.
better
Aw.
versions made on DS.
Nothing I love more than an echo chamber.
Yes,
Thanks, Mike.
absolutely. That's how you
Appreciate
know it's right, when
That's how you
everybody
know.
says the same thing.
Mhm. Absolutely.
But quality of life, he said, Sword and Shield and Arceus take the cake. So that's a little interesting tidbit, but we're going with his first answer, which was Gen 2. Then we got some Facebook peeps. Mitchell says Gen 5's Black and White was a peak blend of graphics and mechanics, but he has high hopes for Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, new generation coming out.
I
What's
had
up
no
with that?
idea.
What's up with that?
Oh, my dudes. Okay, so you haven't seen the trailer yet?
No.
So I watched the trailer right around, when we got back
Yeah.
from our trip in episode 2. They're basically taking everything that they did in Arceus and doing a real proper Pokemon
Nice.
game with it. Present day gyms and all that stuff. It looks better
Oh.
even. Like, check out the trailer. It's super exciting. It's gonna
That's
be
really
what,
cool.
It's gonna be what you really want Arceus to be, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
So
the best parts of Arceus and previous generation games.
Yeah.
Arceus, like we thought, was really the tech demo. It was like the
Mhm.
technology getting.
Yeah.
Now they're going to perfect it. All right.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
definitely a proof
I'm
of
cool with
concept.
Yep.
That's beautiful. I'm really hopeful for that as well. We also had Tiffany, who said, I'm 37, and I only started playing 2 weeks ago, and I only know Go. You go, girl.
Oh, that's okay. That's good.
That's fair. I play more Pokemon Go than I wish I or care to admit. Really,
Is Go? Does it have a generation?
it's Go. It's the Go generation.
It's the Go generation.
It's for people on the go.
Yeah.
Sounds like a term like millennials. The Go generation.
The Go generation.
When you play, do you use it as exercise, or do you get in your fucking car and drive to a Squirtle?
Oh, I'm usually in the passenger seat, and I am rapid firing all over a neighborhood.
Hell yeah.
You're doing drive-bys on
I'm
Pokemon?
doing drive-bys in Pokemon Go for sure.
Yo, roll up on these fools.
What's up,
Let's
do a drive-by.
I heard you got a high level.
But I mean,
Blam, blam.
legit, I'm in like messenger groups and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool. Shit.
like legit, yeah. I have a group of people I play with.
That's wild.
That is wild. That is wild. And then our last one from Facebook, we have Lauren, who's an OG fan and said Gen 1 is absolutely the best.
Yeah. I gotta agree. Back on the original, back on the Game Boy, and when it was brand new, that felt the best.
Oh, I won't fight that.
Oh, no, I wouldn't fight it at all. It started the entire revolution that we know as Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Now moving on to other stuff, Twitter. We have Intergalactic Pinecone, which I saw you in the Twitch chat. Just keep in mind, I Twitch stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, or most Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays, I should say, depending on how work is. But thank you for coming out and hanging out. So Intergalactic Pinecone said, what did they say? Oh, another vote for Generation 5.
I do see
Nice.
it, man. I do see it. Black and White. It was a really cool generation to play. It was the last of the 2Ds, man. The last of the 2D generation.
What else do we have? Oh, podcasts. So we had a couple podcasts reach out. Cast of the Past, aka Bad Elephant Gaming, voted for.
What's up, homies?
It was specifically Tom. So I don't know if Josh has something different, but Tom
is like the authority on Pokemon. If you guys saw the competition, he's fucking brutal
There
at
was no
Pokemon.
contest.
There was no contest.
It was graphic how good he was.
Tom knows his mons. And speaking of mons, said Generation 4 had the best and the best quality and number of Pokemon, but 5 had the best world design. Interesting.
Okay.
I'm going to use that as a vote for 4 because that was the first answer.
Oh, yeah.
What else do we do? Oh, First Encounter Pod said Generation 2, another Gen 2er. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course. How could I forget the amazing Inky Danny, the
Love
one
her.
who created all the
what's
art.
up?
Hell yeah, Inky Danny's the best. She voted for Gen 1.
She's
Gen
even
1
better
in the
than I
house.
thought.
Yeah, classic OG gamer over there. I forgot another podcast. Gaming Together podcast said,
those are some homies.
yeah,
What's up, guys?
they said Gen 1 Squirtle Squad for life.
With the glasses? Hell yeah.
They posted a GIF of the Squirtle Squad with the glasses, and it was amazing. I loved it a lot.
The GIF is more powerful than a word-based answer. You have to do it.
And last
the
but
crowd
definitely
going.
not least, we have Metroid Mike, who said, I've told you twice already now.
So that's a vote for 2.
So,
Oh, wait, that is a vote for 2. I think you said
yeah,
that.
I'm gonna keep the original vote. So if we tally those all up, in last place we have Generation 4.
Ouch. We're doing last place.
Yeah, tied for second place. There's only 3 places. Tied for second place, we have Gens 2 and 5 with 2 votes each.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And drum roll,
means-
please. Nobody's surprised. The winner is
Blah, 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 blah.
Gen 1.
Gen 1, best, first best. Everyone knew it. We're the winners. We're the best. We're the original.
I mean, that's where
Yeah.
you learned that you want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Don't doubt nostalgia. Nostalgia always wins.
Oh, for sure.
Nostalgia is just highlights, highlight clips. It's the best.
Hell yeah. So now we're going to move on to today's audience head-to-head. And I just want to let you know that the audience head-to-head is brought to you by Get Good Serum. For those of you willing to do whatever it takes to become a pro gamer, and I mean whatever it takes, simply inject our GG Serum straight into your flabby gamer ass. Hey, you can do it in your front butt. And in no time, you'll be clicking heads like Shroud, hooking like Dendy, and raging at literal children like Ninja. Best of all, you'll get that perfect gamer physique without any effort at all. GG Serum stimulates your body to create a natural cushion between you and your chair. That big old booty is going to keep you comfortable for days at a time. Yes, we said it, days. Because GG Serum completely removes your desire to sleep. All you want to do is dominate in the esports arena. It's only a matter of time before GG Serum is banned from all competitions, so get yours now while you still have a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
GG Serum. It's time to get good.
Oh, let's get good. GG.
I feel like I already take it.
That's
All right.
a good sponsor. Where did we get them? Guatemala?
That was a sponsor. I'm not sure who picked that out. I'm going to have some questions for them later. Anyway, so that was the audience head-to-head. Thank you all for answering. Make sure you answer our current question, which I'm going to go into now because I just remembered I didn't even ask you the question. So for our question today, we're going to be asking for a little bit of help on the punishing yet popular video game, Elden Ring.
Oh,
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. We've seen this message everywhere, and we're not exactly sure how to do it.
Oh.
You know, I think it's some sort of advanced mechanic, maybe for experts only, only the people who take the GG serum. So we just want to know, how do we try finger butt hole? If you've pulled it off, if you could just let us know, tell us, what was your experience? What came out of it? We really just want to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, I'm seeing it everywhere. Try finger butt hole. I don't know how to do it. I just can't.
Is there a button for it?
There's got to be a technique. I cannot put my finger on it.
Is it an emote? I don't know.
Right. I tried the Konami code. I tried, a Hadouken. Nothing's working. Try finger butt hole. It's like a riddle.
Yeah. You guys got to help us. So let us know. Have you done it? What happens when you do it? How do we execute it? Tell us how to try finger butthole. We need to know.
And while you're at it, you can go ahead and answer those questions. We're going to post on every social media. You can go directly to our podcast. We're going to have a poll there that you can answer. We have a link to voice chats if you want to, actually lay it out. Sometimes it's easier to talk through it. Feel free to throw it up. We'll play it on the show. And also, you don't just need to answer our questions. We can also answer yours. So if you can send us questions through whatever method you want, you can email us, tweet us, DM us, whatever you got to do. Send us those questions. We'll go ahead and use that on the show. And we want to answer your questions too.
Be lazy. Look down in the description of this episode. Click the links. It's easy.
All right. Well, that's literally everything I remember from the show notes. So what do we do now?
Well, while they figure this out and I get a head start on this prize-winning paperwork that I won, let's go and take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. But when we come back, when you get back, when the ad's done, get ready for a boardroom breakdown.
Welcome to Game Corp is brought to you by Suckmaster Decompression Chambers. Let's be real, people. We've all been there. One moment you're ironing your pantsuit before a rewarding day at corporate 9-to-5, when suddenly your organs swell from a catastrophic pressure change. Now, what does anyone do in a situation like that? Well, that's right. You run a tedious and time-consuming biometric diagnostic screening for implant regression and cybernetic firmware update. That is, until I got this baby right here. Introducing the Suckmaster Titan Series Digital Decompression Chamber. Within this fashionable corporate iron lung, you'll find the easiest, most comfortable decompress sesh on the market today. The Suckmaster Titan series features 250 cubic feet of chamber space adorned with all the latest creature comforts, like a thin pillow to sit on, a hose to administer drinking water into, and not one, but 2 exhaust pipes to pump in that sweet, sweet breathable air. Plus, it even has several different mood lighting settings to match the vibe, including melancholy, dread, and impenetrable void. Let me tell you, this monolithic hunk of metal has changed my life, and it can change yours too if you order within the next 15 minutes. Don't ask me how they tracked it, I have no clue. Anyway, Suckmaster Decompression Chambers. Life's never sucked so hard.
Difficulty and challenge have always been a core component to video games, from the very first Pong right up to the Elden Ring of today. To play a game, as I've best heard it quoted, is to take on an unnecessary obstacle to generate the activity of struggling to overcome. Or more simply, we induce struggle simply for the joy of overcoming struggle. And that's been every game. We've had holes to jump over, scattered pieces to hunt down, monsters to shoot in the face. But the interesting thing is, the games of today are now much more than the simple challenge novelties that they started as. They become something more akin to movies and books in terms of scope and artistry. Now, they ship with novel-worthy plots and concepts and characters, and they're produced at a movie-level grade of setting, sound, music, and spectacle. So this really does beg the question, where does difficulty fit in our expansive modern age in gaming? Welcome to the Boardroom Breakdown. Gentlemen, let's start us off by opening with probably the most pestering question on everyone's mind.
Yes.
Why game be hard? Why game be hard? JB, could you open up for us?
Great question. I mean, it hits a lot of cylinders. Game be hard. Game be hard because hard game feel good, right? Like when you beat hard game, when you do hard thing and you achieve goal, feel better. You know, like that's
Hard game feel good.
hard game feel good. Sometimes hard game feel bad, but
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes it does.
Sometimes.
But a lot of times, you know, when you're playing a difficult game and you actually achieve the goal you set out, whether that's a self-imposed goal or one imposed by the game, whether it's like, you know, it's just a really rough segment or, you know, you've been beating your head against a wall for minutes, hours, maybe even days, and you finally achieve the thing that you've been set out to achieve. It's like something that, you know, we can't always do in the real world. So having like the safe space of a video game to actually go out and challenge yourself when you know that failure doesn't really mean all that much in the grand scheme of things. It's like a safe way for us to better ourselves and to get that sort of boost we get from achieving our goals. And I think that's why game be hard.
You know, I think you named two of the things that I really think are like a basis for it. One of them is a reduction of consequences, self-contained consequences inside the game, which when you lose the game, like let's take Elden Ring. Let's start off because I know this is going to come up. I know we're going to talk about Elden Ring. And when you die, it sucks. You lose souls, you got to chase them back and get them and everything. But all that anguish and that stress is self-contained. The moment you turn that game off, it's gone. And I think that's one of the big draws of games and why we like difficulty in it is because our normal difficulties in real life are not fair, are not self-contained, are not, you know, something manageable. They're messy and complex and sometimes out of our control. So I think you really hit it. I think one of the reasons we like difficulties in games is because it always feels fair. Would you agree?
I mean, it falls into what it feels to achieve, right? Like achieving something, especially when you put a lot of effort into it, or is to say the feeling of success is one of the best things you can ever feel in life. It feels good to be successful, and it feels good to achieve something that was really hard. And I mean, games are a perfect medium to feel that through, right? And be safe while you do it. But it's all about the feeling of achievement. It's the dopamine rush when you achieve.
Yeah.
It's the release of stress when you overcome. Difficult games can provide feelings like that more than games that aren't. For example, like, I mean, a good example would be like Animal Crossing, right? There's no difficulty in that. That's a feeling of tranquility, but you don't get that dopamine rush of success that difficulty can provide you.
I would also say it doesn't even have to be a quote-unquote difficult, because we use the word difficult to mean hard, a very difficult game. But the whole concept I get stuck on is the idea that we want to solve problems as a method for fun, whereas we could just go do that in the real world. Every game is just a series of solving problems. We hate doing it in real life. Why do we like doing it in games? Why is every game based on, like, you know, having to go through easy, medium, or hard difficulty, but why any difficulty?
I think a lot of us do like, you know, solving problems in real life too. It's just there's all the other stuff you have to deal with.
Yes.
And that kind of leads into, you know, sometimes games are hard and it's not fun. because it's like you have to deal with all this other stuff too on top of the difficult thing that you actually want to accomplish.
Right.
And, you know, I know we're going to probably talk about games later on, like specifics, but when you look at something like WoW, a lot of people like, I want the old classic WoW, because now it's like you got to do your dailies and your weeklies, and you have to do, you know, weekly resets on raids, and you have like a checklist of things you have to accomplish, but it's like none of those are actually what you want to accomplish. There's an overarching sense of accomplishment that you get, but those are just supplementary things you have to do in order to get that, and it kind of dilutes the feeling, and that's kind of an issue that makes it more akin to real life. And it's like, you know, if real life was a game, I probably wouldn't play it.
Yeah, I think that just falls into the setting that you're talking about then too.
Sure.
Because reality success in reality is slow burning, and it's getting a tax return or buying a house and things like that. And overcoming difficulty in video games is fighting dragons and stuff like that.
True.
Like, I think difficult games also provide that power fantasy, right? Because a lot of difficult games reward you for overcoming superhuman feats.
Yes.
And like it's all about what you're doing. It feels so good to kill Margit the Fell in Elden Ring. It feels like you just got it over with when you submit your taxes, right?
Yeah.
So I think difficulty in gaming also provides not just a feeling of success and a feeling of achievement in that rush, but it also provides you the ability to overcome superhuman feats in the such, right?
Well, and I would even say feats that we couldn't or wouldn't undertake in real life. Because
Right.
I feel like beating Margaret is the same as punching your...
Margaret.
Oh, I keep
Beating
calling
Maggie.
it that. What's
Beating
the actual
Maggie
name? I've been calling her
Simpson.
Margaret.
She's just a baby.
Anyways, beating that particular boss, that is the same as punching your actual boss. It literally probably feels just as good when you do it. All this buildup of frustration and this, you know, this long-term buildup, and then you just get to clock your boss. You don't get to do that in real life because there are no self-contained consequences. You go to jail, you get fired, and it's messy. It affects everything. So in the game, we like the idea of taking down this self-righteous, pompous... I hope the boss doesn't listen to this episode.
Yeah,
this
that's
has nothing
what I've
to
been
do.
thinking the whole
I'm gonna
time.
abandon this.
Like these are
Other
not
people, not
the
us.
views of the rest of the podcast team. These are
No,
Cowboys'
sir.
views
Not
alone.
us. It's
Sir.
hypothetical.
I got a
100%. Not
review
our
coming
boss.
up, son.
Any boss. But that's the thing. It's the word that I've heard a lot for it is agencies. You get to solve problems that you don't normally get to solve in real life. You know, because they never arise. Things like rolling and combat parrying and all that are never things you'll do in real life. Same thing with any game, golf, racing. These kind of agencies that you put yourself in are tracks that your brain doesn't get to run normally and wouldn't without these self-contained little things. And I think it's amazing.
That's true. And I feel like a lot of games that are actually like real life are more like casual, like quiet games, you know, like lawn mowing simulator, farming simulator. I wouldn't consider those difficult. I would consider them tedious, but not necessarily difficult. But at the same time, there are a lot of games surrounding real life skills. Like I play a lot of different like coding games, right? 7 Billion Humans is one that comes to mind. It's like you're solving problems that would never exist because you don't really have to make people jump into pits unless you're the boss and we're the people falling in the pits. I think he's been playing that game a little too much, but it's, you know what I mean? It's like, it is a real life skill and you can actually learn things that'll help you solve problems in real life, and it's still difficult and it's still enjoyable. So I think, you know, all generalizations are false. But yeah, I completely agree with you what you're saying. And something I wanted to bring up was the idea of flow, right? So if nobody's ever heard of this, what flow basically is there's a limit to how difficult a game can be for you to still like get in the zone and still like have fun doing it. Yeah. Because if it's way more difficult than what you can handle, you're going to give up. And if it's way too easy than what you can handle, you're not going to be challenged. You're not going to grow. And that's really what we're aiming for, is the growth. You know, we get that sense that we're moving forward towards something. So there's a fine line between too hard and too easy. And for each person, that's going to fall in a different section. Like, for instance, me and my wife are playing VR. We have this music game, kind of think like Beat Saber.
Yeah.
And I'm playing on like Expert Plus or whatever, and I'm doing pretty well. And my wife is playing on easy, and she's like, I asked her, like, why don't you step up to a harder difficulty? I think you can do it. And she's like, well, it's too hard. I don't have fun doing it. And it's because it's just slightly outside of her comfort range. Whereas I am comfortable with Expert Plus, and it's the only way I can actually get that flow. If I drop down to an easier difficulty, it's too easy. I actually lose focus,
Yeah, and you don't get the reward enough to have you keep going, which is the way I've seen it is the ceiling is frustration and the floor is boredom, and and it's such a variable spot that you have to be in, which is even more challenging for developers because not only is the difficulty variable, but the player's skill levels and every such thing is variable. Which, as an aside, I want to say developers, it's harder than you think for them to really make a game a good difficulty.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Balancing that is crucial, and I feel like that's why a lot of games actually include difficulty settings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It helps the player dial in their most rewarding experience. I don't think for the majority of players, I don't think dialing it up all the way and trying to overcome that provides the most rewarding experience. But a game from easy to hard can provide the entire audience that same feeling. Like the person who can survive insanity and the person who can only play easy can feel the same way with those difficulty settings. Which I think this all ties back to, the big question, right? Why game hard? Because it feels good.
Right.
It feels good to overcome it.
And I feel like whenever I think about it, I think of it as a mountain. It's a games and that difficulty is a mountain you climb. But some games, these mountains, the bottom of the mountain is 20 feet in the air. And you'd love to climb that mountain, but you can't even take the first step. And I feel like some games, you get cut off there.
Right.
A lot of people get cut off at different games because of skill level, or they just can't get into it. It's too hard at first, and so I think people run into that a lot. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I think that's where the, looking at accessibility versus approachability really matters. And I know Cowboy and I have talked about this before, and I disagreed, but then I really thought about it, and I actually agree with your definitions of the two. So,
well, thank you.
Basically, what I see is like accessibility is basically, can you pick up the game and launch it and get into it? Like, is it something that is accessible to you as an individual? But approachability is like, are you going to actually be able to make progress in this game, right? So like, just because I can launch into Elden Ring and go fight the first boss, that makes it accessible. But am I going to be able to make progress on that first boss? That depends on how approachable it is for me individually, right? How difficult it is, where it falls on that floor to ceiling kind of ratio. And that kind of is a question that I've been debating for a while with basically anybody who will debate it with me is, what is the right way to do it? And I'm saying not in general for like every specific game needs to do it this way, but just in general, like as a community of gamers, where does the needle fall? Where does the pendulum swing here on approachability? Should we be leaning towards, in general, making games more approachable? Or should we say, we should make games that are accessible, but kind of really, really challenge you, and it's kind of up to you to get to that position, kind of like what I think about with Souls games and Elden Ring. And the answer is, it's going to be nuanced, but...
Well, and this is a question I've been dying to ask, which is, do developers, and this is going to be the developers of Elden Ring, have a responsibility, or any developer, to make a game approachable for everyone? Can you have games that exclude people just because, as maybe even an artist choice, that is just what it is? It is in its own grade of, sorry, if you can't play hard games, you just can't. Or is there a responsibility of inclusion?
My answer on that is I don't think there's a responsibility for it. I see video games is an art form, right? And it's up to that studio to develop their vision. And the vision they want to develop is what they're going to develop. If we're talking money and numbers, sure, it makes sense. If you want to make the most money, you make them approachable, right? But do they have to do it? I don't think so. I think they can just make the game that they want to make. So I think at the end of the day, it becomes a numbers game. If you want to make the most money, it should be approachable, right?
Right.
And
And
you don't have to do it.
almost like a free market kind of approach. Like, hey, if you want to do this, you're not going to make money, but that's up to you. Do whatever you want.
Yeah. I heard somebody say, like, what makes a piece of software, let's say in this case a game, what makes a game good? And the only answer that anybody could come up with was people play it. And I
Okay.
don't know that that's true. Like,
I don't agree with that.
Are
I don't agree with that either. There's a lot of hidden indie gems, or like even like Souls games, Elden Ring. Like, I would say it's kind of a niche game. Elden Ring has brought it up to more people, I would say. Made
Yeah,
it more accessible, slightly more approachable.
Mhm.
And so more people are playing it. So you could say that it's a better game if you're using that metric, but it doesn't get nearly as many players as, say, Candy Crush. So does that mean Candy Crush is a better game? No, I don't agree with that.
I would never, because I think as a concept itself, that quantity never equals quality. Some of my favorite stuff in life is not world-renowned loved. I think that's just a misconception to say that, like, this many people. I think that just makes it utmost compatible. It's made in a way that can hit a lot of people. But yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. I think some of my favorite games are bad games. They're terrible games that not a lot of people played, and I got the most joy from them because they were quality to me.
Mm-hmm. So I think that was probably like one extreme of the examples, which is like, should every game appeal to every person?
Right.
But let's go to extreme the other way and say, imagine a world where every game is like Dark Souls 1, right? Like, it just came out, nobody's ever seen this before, and it's as difficult as can be. People are quitting in droves, like barely anybody can get through this game. Imagine every game was like that. Is that better or worse than our current place we're at?
You know what? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the NES era.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Or like
that-
arcades.
That was the arcade and the NES era, and that plays into, again, feeling good about accomplishing something with game difficulty and stuff like that. So that is the landscape that we came from.
Yes.
True.
The current landscape that we're sitting in now has evolved to include all sorts of different gameplay styles, gameplay difficulties, different genres, things like that.
Mhm.
But I think, if anything, it's proved that our roots in video game history has spawned from a million hard as fuck challenges.
Yes.
Everything was hard. Like, we come from a lineage of, like, ghosts and goblins, right? And the original Mario was even super hard to the landscape we're at today. I think a good question would be, does that style of game still hold its own in today's landscape? Like, does it still have not just a place, but a very important place in today's landscape? Can you get away with that type of difficulty in today's landscape? Yeah,
Right.
I think a lot of games say yes.
Yes. Dark Souls comes to mind. I feel like it's like that straight up NES era difficulty.
Yeah.
Like, if that game was in an arcade, like, it's a quarter eater, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
It would be a quarter eater for sure.
I have always said, and you can quote me, that the Nintendo era was the Dark Souls of gaming. I'm like, every game back then was Dark Souls.
Oh, yeah.
Every game was, you died, you got tons of progress
Yep.
reset.
Yep.
If you
Remember how hard
died
DuckTales
three-
was?
Mm-hmm.
If you died twice in a row, you could get a game over and go to the start. You know, that all feels like Dark Souls. And some of the ones, we played them on the podcast, they didn't tell us enough. Like, I want to think of DuckTales, where we didn't even know how to do some of the moves. Like,
Yeah.
we had to look in the, what do you call it,
The
JB?
manual.
the additional
The dreaded
materials.
manual.
The real world lore. Like,
Wait, which in this case, for Elden Ring and the Dark Souls series, is to look online.
and it's also very true. It's the same things I had
That
an
is
issue
true.
with like DuckTales is the same thing I had an issue with Elden Ring.
Supplementary material.
Supplementary materials being necessary to progress.
But then one must acknowledge that the new landscape does involve the internet and guides and people and all the stuff that surrounds it. Unfortunately, supplementary material. And I think Dark Souls, you forget that you say, well, you have to get into the community and learn all this stuff. That is part of it. It's like reading a vast old novel where you have to look up the definitions and have to discuss online with people, what does this all mean? I think with Dark Souls you have to, and I think some people like that and some people don't.
Yeah, I feel like Dark Souls really, like From Software in general, has really nailed what makes each individual piece of their game difficult and just cranked it up a bit. You know, like let's make the movement a little bit difficult, right? It's a little bit slower, a little bit chunkier. You have to really plan what you're about to do before you do it. It's not as like quick and fast reaction speed as like say Knockout City or something like that. And then you have like, you know, the controls and everything, just in like how to do certain things, they just don't tell you. You have to figure it out on your own. The advanced mechanics like parrying, you have to like see somebody do it in the game and go, how do I make that happen? Or you have to, you know, interact with others and go out and cruise message boards and potentially get spoilers in order to figure that stuff out. So every little individual piece of it is just slightly more difficult than I would say the average game.
And we're talking about the philosophy, so I want to that makes me think of a question. I want to keep us on that. The philosophy of, as devil's advocate, have gamers become lazy, and is possibly the Dark Souls series a combatant against that? To
like
try
a return to form.
A return to form, a way to say, because a lot of games nowadays hold your hand through everything. A lot of games play themselves. You don't have to worry about dying, death, failure states, anything. Is Dark Souls pulling back on the pendulum saying, hey, we can be more than this? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing that supports a toxic kind of community? What do you guys think about that?
I think that's a lot of questions in one. But
Yeah.
It is.
So the first thing, like, are gamers lazier now? I would say no.
Yes.
I think that's just straight up not true. When you look at a lot of the top games, a lot of them are competitive games by nature. A lot of them are esports style games where you're really competing with everybody and yourself on top of that. So it's a lot of like get good is I would say the overarching gamer culture. Now, when you go through any sort of shift where your art form becomes more mainstream, say music, say books, say movies, say video games, when you involve a more general population, they're not going to be part of the community in the same way, and they're just getting their feet in. So they're stepping into it and needing some sort of like, hey, hand-holding experience. Now, a lot of gamers who've grown up in a nest like me and grew up with, you know, all of these very difficult games can say, hey, I actually like that this game is tuned slightly better for me. I can choose my challenge. I can still make progress, even if I just want to sit down and play some games for a little bit. And then you also have gamers are getting older, so they have less time. So it's not that they're lazy. It's just that they have to be efficient with their time. And one perfect example of this before I hand it over is in something like WoW, I would say, where players will choose the path that gets them to their goal the quickest. It's not necessarily about being lazy. It's about being efficient with your resources, which is time, money, energy, whatever that is.
The path of least resistance.
It's the path of least resistance. And you can say that's laziness in a way because, oh, you're not walking uphill in the snow both ways. But I think that's a boomer mentality, and that's not accurate for the world we live in. It's an easy soundbite to make, but when you dig into the nuance, it's like, no, it's not being lazy. It's being efficient.
Right. It's a natural human reaction. It's ingenuity sometimes. It's tons of stuff. It's never really lazy.
Yeah, even like Elden Ring, like you can pick up magic, you can pick up summons. There's a lot of things in every Dark Souls games that makes the game a lot easier than it would be normally. And the vast majority of cases, except for in Elden Ring, because we have seen some mumblies about this recently, is that, oh, it's fine. If you can beat Dark Souls, then you're good. Yeah. You know, regardless of how you beat it, you're still good, unless you straight up like hack the game and cheated. But but in general, it's just like, oh, you beat Dark Souls, like great, like you're a good gamer.
Well, and to me, that really says you've had a shift in your mind as to what you consider acceptable perseverance or difficulty. You have kind of changed your expectations, because I think anybody can get on the Dark Souls train if they change their mind as to what they understand. Because a lot of games nowadays, if I play Mario and I die 20 times in a row to the same boss or same enemies, I'm going to throw my controller and be like, this is broken. They made a bad game. Because that's not what I expect. But in Dark Souls, your expectation has changed and it works. Because a lot of people understand it, know it, and go for it. So
Is it really an expectation thing, or is it more just like a how you feel about the game thing? Because when I played a game like Elden Ring, you know, fighting multiple different bosses and multiple different enemies for 3 hours and dying a lot. I was like, I didn't like it. But then I played Trackmania, and I just had a stream where I streamed for like 4 hours on the exact same map for the entire 4 hours. Finally achieved my goal. It was one of the highlights of my gaming career. So that mentality,
Well,
it's not, to me, it's not really a shift in mentality. It's about whether you like the underlying game mechanics enough to deal with the slog.
yes, and I think you're right. I think that's a great point to make, and I want to pivot to that and talk about a new topic. But Jake, do you have any thoughts on that before we move?
No, man. I think it's been said. Gamers are not lazy. And again, I'm gonna keep going back to numbers. Like when we're talking about hand holding and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
that falls into approachability again. You get the most amount of people possible with the controller in their hands playing that game, and if it holds their hands, people will play it. They might not derive the same joy as a game that's more hard and more rewarding for beating, but they're gonna play it. I think, again, with WoW, I think that's why WoW added quest markers and made things so much easier to clear and levels easier to attain and things like that. I think that's all money driven. But games like Dark Souls and Souls-like games, you have things like Hollow Knight. I think these games prove that there's a humongous community of gamers that want to feel challenged and want to feel the reward from overcoming that challenge. So, no, gamers are not lazy. I think the politics and financials of gaming have changed.
And I think you're absolutely correct. I think some game makers now understand the concept of, like JB said, flow. And to me, for them, that means money flow. So they're putting these safety bars, these almost like when you go bowling, the guardrails on their frustration levels and their boredom levels, and they're keeping people in this nice, easy zone. Because there's things like scaling difficulty, variable scaling difficulty in the game. So I think you're right. And that makes me want to pivot to something I want to talk about with you guys, which is the idea of reward mechanics, short-term and long-term. And I think this has to do with what we're talking about, super difficult games. I'm going to bring up me and JB. I think we are gamers that are more apt to enjoy short-term reward mechanics. And I think you, Jake, are a gamer who likes long-term reward mechanics.
That sounds right.
Because me and JB like things where it's instant gratification, instant feedback. The micro of the game is what pleases us. You know, we can see our numbers ticking up. We can see the levels. But with you, Jake, you like expansive stories. You love Mass Effect. You love all the stuff we've talked about that are super rich and pay off in the longest run. And I think that's a big difference. And I think Dark Souls is giving people at the highest end of that long-term reward mechanics kind of enjoyment spectrum. I think that's giving them exactly what they want. Inside the micro as well, but it's what you're drawn to. People love that big payoff with those super hard games. They love throwing themselves at the wall, or with the Meat Boy, the spikes, or with Celeste, the spikes, you know, over and over until they get that big payoff. So what do you guys think? Short-term and long-term reward mechanics. Do you guys have any thoughts on those and how they play into all this?
I think it boils down to like extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, which is a psychology thing for all of you people who have taken psychology courses in college. What you're saying for like short-term mechanics, I feel like that's more of an extrinsic reward. And what that means, it's outside of you personally. So it's like, oh, you did a good thing, you get a cookie. I'm thinking of like in The Simpsons, where there's like they go to Cletus's shack and they open the door and there's somebody doing like it was that weird exercise thing with the little thing you hold on to and you do like a weird push-up. It was a very odd thing. And every time she did it, she would eat a bite of cake. And she's like, that's my reward. So every time you do an action, you get a reward of some kind. So that's an extrinsic. There's a lot of games that do this, like Diablo, like looter shooters in general. Yes. WoW with different gear drops. But then there's also
enemy, and boom, something sparkles and pops out instantly. You're rewarded for that.
And then you have intrinsic motivation, which is more internal. It's about like, I want to achieve this goal. I feel good about myself that I did a thing. So it's more about feeling good about yourself. And when you look at the psychology of it and the statistics around it, if you can only have one or the other, intrinsic motivation is a stronger motivator long term than extrinsic, obviously, because it's more of a long term thing. It's like, it's not a short term reward system. So, but it's even more than that. Having both is actually the best way to motivate people. My degree's in education, so motivating people to learn a topic or get better at a topic, you want both. You want short-term extrinsic motivation to keep them interested while they grow as an individual and get that intrinsic motivation, because it takes longer. So that's the ideal. Like from a psychology perspective, that's the ideal. I'm not saying that that's how every game needs to be, but a lot of games do that. You know,
A lot of games do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Even Dark Souls, like you beat the boss, you feel better about it. Like you get the piece of gear that's extrinsic, but it took you an hour to beat that boss. That's intrinsic. You know, you're getting better. You're seeing yourself dodge more. You know.
This is also like brought up when people talk about gameplay loops, because they talk about, the smallest loop and then the bigger loop. And this can be obvious from like, with an RPG, you fight a monster, you kill it, you get money and gold and loot. But you fight enough of those monsters and you complete a longer loop, which is like you level up and now you have new skills. And so it's this Russian doll situation of this many loops equals this loop equals, that many of those loops equal this, all the way up to beating the game. When you close that final loop and all the loops are done, and games they have understood how to make games that handle, short, medium, and long-term rewards. And that's what developers do. And I want to say real quick, the two terms that I correlate with these, short-term, intrinsic, I guess you said, to me means a sense of mastery. Mastering things in the moment. That is, doing something, bam, at work. Doing something, bam, I got it. And the long term to me is a sense of completion or collection. Ticking boxes, making the number go from 49 to 50 to 60 out of whatever number, 70, and seeing that number rise up and know that you're going to hit that 70 one day. And I think people need to understand that when they choose games, they need to know what type of gamer they are. Are they a short term or are they a long term? And most of the time you can figure out which game you're going to like based on that. Right.
And it's kind of like, you're not stuck in one camp or the other. It's more just like where you lean.
It's
right. Because I'm somewhere in the middle. I would say I agree with you that I probably lean towards more like, give me something right off the bat to hook me. Mm-hmm. I need something. I need like, I made a big number happen on the screen. Cool. And then I will use that as fuel to get better at the game and move on. Which is one of the reasons I like Trackmania, because like even if you aren't mastering it, you can still finish the track. Your number is going to be terrible, and then you're trying to get a better number. Yes, so it's like it gives you the short term, and then you also can work towards the long term.
Yeah. Your lap times are your short term, your medal is your long term.
Exactly.
And then your longest term is when every fucking track has gold marker and you unlock some trophy, some platinum.
Yeah, it's like the end game, right? The end game of any game. Is typically, and it's usually like online MMOs, competitive games. There's a sort of like mastery tier you can get to that only the best of the best play at, and that's kind of like the epic, long term kind of goal.
And I want to say you're in the middle. I am at the front of that. I don't finish any games. I play it. I use it as drugs, basically. Give me those glittering lights, yum, 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 yum. I'm done. I don't care. As soon as I don't want any more, it's gone. I don't care about collections, any of that.
Right, like so that's what you said about Rocket League. You said it's just a farm for dopamine.
It is a farm for dopamine for me. So is like medium bots on Dota. So is Slay the Spire. So is like CSGO I was into for a while, just round after round.
Yep.
So I'm on that. And then Jake, would you say you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, on the farthest end? If JB's middle and I'm left?
Yeah.
Are you a right winger, Jake?
You the right winger? You conservative with your gameplay?
Get the fuck out of here. No, I 100% derive joy from long-term goals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like 100%. Like seeing where I'm at after 70 hours and seeing all the things that I accomplished between 1 and 70. That's where my joy comes from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think part of the philosophy is not just difficulty as a pure kind of single idea, but understanding where you lie on the spectrum and where you get your joy from.
Yes. And then where the game lies on the spectrum.
Yes.
That's important too.
And so just to go back to Elden Ring, I think a lot of people didn't know. Elden Ring has sold so many copies compared to 1, 2, and 3. So many new people wanted to get into this game because the way, there was a leaked reveal trailer, which built such big hype of the diehards and whatnot that it spilled over into the mainstream. They're like, why are they so excited? And they didn't know. Tons of people just didn't know what they were getting into, and they are left side of the spectrum gamers, and this is a right side of the spectrum game.
Yep. I had no idea it was a Souls game when I launched into it first. No idea.
Yeah,
I launched into it going in blind, and I'm like, oh, this is Dark Souls. Like, this is Dark Souls 4. I remember saying that on stream. I was like, I was not aware. Like, I thought it was some weird...
idea, dude.
I thought it was just an open world fantasy RPG. Like, I really thought that's what it was.
Yep.
And it kind of is, but it's from Software. I didn't even know who From Software was. Like, I knew of the Souls games, but they didn't appeal to me. I knew they just weren't my game. And if I would have known that going into it, I probably wouldn't have played it. But then again, I was like, until, all the hype really came to a head, like after release, and people were still saying, this is an amazing game. I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get into it because I do like getting better. I like achieving goals. I like getting skilled at a difficult game. Like, especially when a game is like very, very difficult to compete at a high level. I love that. But unfortunately, the gameplay wasn't for me, which is completely different than what we're really talking about here, which is difficulty in general.
Right.
Not, how does a game, is it fun? That's different. Difficulty and fun are not always the same.
Here's the thing. People may not agree with me. I've been playing Elden Ring, level 40. I beat, Godric? Just beat him? Is that Godric, Jake? Help me out.
Yeah, after Margit, yeah.
So I just beat him. I'm progressing. I'm getting the payoffs. I'm beating these bosses. And I told you guys in Discord, me, Cowboy, actually exclaimed out loud, I did it. I fucking did it. And I don't ever exclaim. I am just a dead fish when I play games. I'm just like, oh, yeah, that was a good play. No. But this
speaks to the reward. That speaks to the
does.
reward that a difficult encounter or a difficult situation, overcoming a difficult situation can provide you.
It's an intensity. It's bigger hills, bigger valleys. In fact, there was this one point I did not, this is funny. My wife was lying in bed. And I did not know. She'd come up and she was going to ask me a question, but she knows that when I'm playing hard games, she's going to wait until she sees that I'm done with the boss or whatever. And so I didn't know she was in the room, and Godric was kicking my ass, and at one point I yelled out, he killed me, and I yelled out, eat my ass. and she thought that was the weirdest thing to yell, and it just came right out of me. I just died, I'm like, oh, eat my ass.
And yeah. People say the most obscene shit whenever a game is kicking their ass. Oh my God.
It brings you to emotions.
Yeah.
And that's why people like it. It's, as opposed to playing. Do you ever say eat my ass while playing Candy Crush? I don't think anybody does. So bigger highs, bigger lows.
Yeah, and since I'm the type of person, like, I'm pretty balanced on that spectrum. Like, I need a fairly equal amount of short-term and long-term, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm ever getting to the position where I'm not getting any short term and I don't really have an idea for what a long term goal could be, like, I have nothing I'm working towards. I'm just kind of playing the game, and I'm struggling and I'm hitting a wall. I'm just gonna stop playing it before I ever get to that point where I am exclaiming "eat my ass,"
Sure.
All of the Call of Duty ragers, I just never got it. I'm like, if you don't like the game, don't play it. Same thing with Dota. MOBAs, like a lot of competitive games, you have those real like ragers, the salty people who are like, you can tell they're not having fun.
You can actually hear it in their voice because you hear the slightest bit of weeping, crying. You can hear the whine where it sounds like they're close to crying. I've heard it before, and I'm like, dude, you need to stop.
Yep. This is a
You
problem.
need to stop playing that. Yeah.
That's like an addiction is what that is. Like, you're no longer getting the joy that you got out of it originally. And it's kind of like that's part of it. Like, if you can't overcome the struggle and you have something else to blame it on, you're going to feel like you're the victim, which is why a lot of online multiplayer games have that sort of Cowboy, you mentioned it very briefly in the long list of questions to start this, but the toxic communities.
Yes.
And I think that might be a good way to transition to our final sort of section here, which is talking about like actual games and implementations of difficulty and how specifically certain games implement difficulty in a way that's good or bad. It could be the same sort of implementation, but done better or worse, or what it leads to, unexpected consequences, like we talked about with toxic communities, or whatever. So I'm
Is
just
there
curious
such
what
a
your thoughts are.
thing as bad difficulty and good difficulty?
Yeah,
Because even if something's so hard, the payoff's got to be enough to match it. So isn't every difficulty good?
I would say no, absolutely not. Like difficulty has to come from good game design practices, right? Like if a game is hard because the inputs or the movement is too janky. Like a prime example for me is the first couple Resident Evil games. When you drove like a tank. I hated those games because of that. I'm sitting here going, if I could just control myself normally, I could get through this.
Right.
But the controls were so bad, in my opinion, that I derived no joy from overcoming anything. And I was like, I didn't overcome that. I don't know. Like, I think that's a perfect example of bad implementation of difficulty. Like 100%. Like difficulty has to be well designed, and it has to be able to be achievable based on the tools that you're using. Like the player has to see that, yes, this is me, it's in my hands. If I'm failing, it's because of me. I'm not failing because the game was designed poorly or the mechanics are too bad. I'm failing because of me.
It has to be a reasonable presentation of fairness to the player.
Yeah, it has to be perceived as fair in order to be enjoyable. So whenever you achieve that, you're like, I fucking did that. Not I overcame this really stupid game mechanic. It's I did that.
Because for the most part, nobody complains in a game where you're in a cutscene, the bad guy's monologuing, and you don't go, just shoot him in the face. This game fucking sucks. Shoot him in the face. You have an expectation of what's fair. You're like, well, it's a cutscene, and then it wouldn't be a good challenge if I beat the game right now, But on the inverse, when you're playing a game, you throw a grenade in Call of Duty, and that grenade should have killed him, and that it didn't. You go, that's fucking bullshit. That he should have died. You feel like it wasn't consistent. And so, I mean, that's a bad example. It's just people being salty in Call of Duty.
Sure. I think it's a good way to say good difficulty has to come with the expectation of fairness.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I think I don't know that you both would agree with me in every sort of situation that this could occur in, but I think in general, difficulty is done poorly when the player doesn't have the agency to tackle the problem in a way that utilizes their strengths or what their character has been built for or whatever, right? Like when balance is an issue, it can really cause, difficulty to come across as unfair, like you were saying, which is, something, a specific example is with WoW, especially classic WoW, when you have, a lot of people up at the higher levels talking about what is optimal and saying, if you're not playing optimally, you can't play, right? Like there's sort of getting into the toxic community thing, but I played a druid, and one of the things early on was like, if you wanted to play a druid, you had to go out and farm manual crowd pummelers, which was a very specific item, and it was the only way anybody would let you play with them is if you had that one specific item. And druids weren't bad. They were actually really good, and it was when classic WoW came out again that people really started noticing, and I knew at the time, but it was like, you get into this situation where you're deemed as being a hindrance to the general flow of the game if you're not playing the exact right way.
Right.
I ran into that while playing WoW.
Yeah, and it happens in a lot of games, mostly online games, because that's where people actually pay attention. But that's something like so balance is a bad way to implement difficulty, I would say, like poor balance.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what I think is the most important as far as difficulty goes. Like, I think that clear definitions is why people like the difficulty of like some of the best games is because they clearly define. Like one of my favorite games to play for a while was a little game called Into the Breach, which I think is made by the same people who made FTL. Faster Than Light, the spaceship one. And they were talking about how they stumbled upon, they were basically just making this battle game where aliens come up and then they attack houses and you got these mechs, you got to defend them. And then at one point they clearly showed you what the bad guys were going to do through some special ability, and then that became the entire game. It's a turn-based game. Every turn, they show you exactly what the enemy is going to do, and it's the only thing that makes the game fun, because you are very certain as to the outcome of the results. You know, if I do this, then he will move there, attack this, I'll have 2 points of damage, I can do this and this. And I think that is important in difficulty, is that consistent knowledge of consequences and rewards for every action. And even if you don't know them exactly, you kind of know in your head. And that's why people like games. They hate the idea that you could strive at a job for 10 years and never know if you get a promotion. You could just not get promoted. But in a game, you know. You kill this many bad guys, you are going to level up. So I want to say it's consistency and clearly defined goals.
Yep.
That's good gaming. That's good difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Into the Breach is like a perfect example of a lot of the things that I think good difficulty does. Number one, pretty much what you were saying, like the primary like level of difficulty comes from applying the rules as laid out in the game, like applying the game mechanics, but just in a more complicated way or in a more complicated situation. But it's the same core game mechanics. You're not, changing it up every single, level or whatever. Also, I think good difficulty is designed by something that's easy to pick up and play, but hard to master. Like it's something that's hard to get good at. The first couple levels of Into the Breach are the tutorial levels, right? Yeah. They don't really put up that much of a challenge, but then you get to like level 4, 5, 10, 20, and it's like almost like a completely different game.
Right.
Also, it leads into the curve difficulty. I think not having just a set difficulty, it's this difficult the entire way through. It needs to somehow scale and be variable throughout to keep up with your growing skill level. So when you start out, you're going to be bad, and it should be easier. And then as you progress, it should get harder. Where that curve falls is up to debate, and it depends on the individual and everything. So I'm not going to get into that, but just having some sort of difficulty progression is the last thing. Because like you don't start out bench pressing 300, right? You don't start out fighting Mike Tyson when you start training to be a boxer. You start off, shadow boxing, hitting, you know what I mean? So it's like you have to have some sort of progression to mimic real life situations, and that's what makes difficulty good.
Well, and real quick, I want to add, on top of the idea of variable difficulty, optional difficulty, even Pac-Man had like the point system where you could grab the fruits. Even Celeste had the B-sides and the, speed runners and everything. The idea that you can beat the game, but you can also beat the game in this way and all the collectibles, and you can platinum. And I think that's not just a way to earn money by approachability. I think that kind of variable and scalable optional difficulty is just as important.
You know what, guys? That was a lot of in-depth conversation about the psychology and implementation of difficulty in gaming and why it's good and why it's bad. And I think we can safely say we have a pretty good grasp on why game be hard.
Yeah, we do.
Why game do be hard. Now we know.
Be hard.
Feel good. It do be that way because it feel good.
Well, if you out there, listeners and interns, also know why game be hard, check out our Twitter. We should be able to post this episode, and you guys can comment. We want to know the entire community's opinions on this. Not only do we want to break this down, but we want you guys to break it down as well. So let us know all your superior thoughts, contradictions to what we said, and anything you want to add. Check the description below the episode to get to our Twitter and talk to us there, but then you can always DM us as well.
And well, that's our show, and also our very first episode of the Boardroom Breakdown. Let us know how we did too, because this is a pretty exciting segment that I think we can expand on in the future quite a bit. And I want to thank Metroid Mike for the use of our theme song, I Can't Break, off of the album Heart of the Juggernaut. Go buy it. Remember, he does have a kid. Remember, you forgot, didn't you? You forgot he had a kid. Feed his fucking kid. He's so hungry.
And
also, thanks to Inky Denny for
he's got the new band. What is it?
Yeah, Balefire. So go
Balefire.
check out Balefire. Balefire. It's metal and chiptunes. It's a cool fusion. Check that out too, man.
Fucking neato.
Also, make sure you check us out on social media. Go down to the description, leave us voice messages, answer the polls, ask us questions, whatever you want to do. We want to interact with you. We want to, give back to the community that's given so much to us. We really appreciate it. We have our website, welcome to gamecorp.com. There's lots of cool little Easter eggs and links and things you can go check out there. You can email us. I mean, pretty much whatever you want. Wherever you are, we'll be there. Watching. Waiting.
I just wanted the extended silence. And I, Cowboy, want to thank you all for listening so much. It is so beautiful not seeing all your faces, but knowing that they're there, wherever they are, wherever you are right now listening. I want to go ahead and plug our Twitch, which JB is in charge of and is doing a bang-up job. He's got a schedule on there, so go ahead and pop on over again in the description over to the Twitch. We are going to be doing fun events. We got so much stuff planned. We got so many ideas bursting at the seams. Follow us or you will be FOMO'd, if I'm using that correctly.
I think that's right.
You will FOMO what you will MO on. Also, we're going to be launching our Discord. I know I keep saying this as if it's big enough, but we're still constructing it, getting it ready. Ask us for the link. We'll get you in early if you want. And again, maybe in the description. Look, I might have remembered and put it there. But I also want to ask you guys to do one more thing for me. And that is... get the fuck out of here. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Just checking in. Have you guys turned into a puddle of ooze yet?
No, still here.
Yeah, when are we getting out of here?
I don't really care when. So, have you guys seen Luke?
Hey, I've noticed you hanging around Luke a lot today.
Yeah. It seems like you two are getting pretty close lately.
Aw, Anne, do you have a thing for Luke? Can you have a thing for, like, anything?
Anne can have whatever she wants, including simping over the IT guy.
Who made her?
Well,
Oh my DOS, shut up.
Yeah, it's cool, Anne. I mean, you want us to put in a good word for you?
If you say another word, I'll let the oxygen out of this chamber.
I just think it's cute that Anne has a crush on the IT guy.
Mm-hmm.
you guys hear that?
Nighty-night, dorks.
There's no air. I can't breathe. Anne! Oh, sorry. Anne, we're sorry. Sorry! Oh, what the fuck, Anne?
Oh, jeez. I thought I was going to die there.
I kind of got horny.
But seriously, have you guys seen Luke?
Aww.
No!